All praise going on is one only due to the Most High. Yah, the God of the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and peace in the name of his Son. I count it truly a blessing each and every time that I can come before you preach the word of God. And I count it as a light thing to do so. And right now, brothers and sisters, I want to just deal with just the pagan origins of Lent, because today is Ash Wednesday, and that's the beginning of Lent. And so I want to read from this book, The Pagan Origins of Christian Holidays. Okay. But before I do that, I do want to read something in the gospel text, and this is in John the 4th chapter. And I'm going to pick it up. I'm not going to be long at all. John 4 and verse 24. It says something about the Most High. It says in John 4 and 24, God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in forgive me. So again, John 4 and 24 says, God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Okay? So if you're calling yourself worshiping the Most High, you have to do it according to the truth. Okay? So what is the truth? Real quick, let's just go to John 17 chapter. Preach, Steve, brother. John the 17th chapter. And we'll pick it up at verse 17. Peace to you. It says, sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. Okay, so the word is truth. Let's go to Psalms 119 chapter. Psalms 119, the acoustic psalm. Psalm 119 and verse 142. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Okay, so if you worship him you're going to worship him, you have to worship him according to what he gave you. Now let's see what he gave us in regard to days that we are to observe. Did he give us Lent? This is Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. When you see the days stipulated that all the days that Israel was commanded to observe. In verse 1, it says, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of the Lord. Okay, so these are his feasts. It says, which you proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts. Now you're going to see the Sabbath day. You're going to see the Passover. You're going to see Feast of Unleavened Bread. You'll see first fruits. You'll see Pentecost. You'll see Memorial Blowing of Trumpets. You'll see a Day of Atonement or Yom Kippur. And you'll see Tabernacles. So what you will not see is Lent. So where does Lent come from? You don't see it given from that. So if you're gonna call yourself worshiping him, you can't worship according to what somebody made up. We're gonna find out the origins of this. And again, this is from this book, The Pagan Origins of Christian Holidays. This is in chapter 5, and it's entitled Lent, Awaiting the Rebirth of Spring. Okay. So it says, starting off with a quote from Cassianus, it says, it ought to be known that the observance of Lent did not exist as long as the primitive church retained its perfection unbroken. So you didn't have Lent then, in regard to true believers. It says Lent is the 40th day before Easter and is observed in many Christian denominations. On page 28 of this book, The Pagan Origins of Christian Holidays. This is a 6 and 1/2 week period that lasts from Ash Wednesday, which is today, to Easter Sunday. During Lent, Christians fast and refrain from various pleasures. This is said to be for the purpose of preparing to commemorate the passion, death, and resurrection of Christ. But if you want to deal with the the death of Christ, he tells you what to do. I'm going to keep reading. It said, although the Holy Scriptures do ordain a period of fasting in commemoration of the passion of Christ, this was not the 40-day period known as Lent. The book of Leviticus, it is written, and this is Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, okay, verses 26 and 27. It reads, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, also on the 10th day of the 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be a holy convocation or holy gathering unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls, which means to fast. Okay, so now, also, so if, where did this day come from? We're going to get to that, but I want to point I want to go to 1 Timothy, the 4th chapter, because Paul, he prophesied of this happening. Okay? What happening? That this idea of accepting this type of worship in regard to this Lent. This is 1 Timothy 4 and verse 1. It says, now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter time some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, or teachings of Satan. So what is that? Speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience sealed with a hot iron, He's going to tell you what it is that they do, and it should sound familiar. It says, forbidding to marry and commanding to abstain from meats. Wait a minute. It says, which God hath created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth. Who is this one that would forbid to marry? That's the Roman Catholic Church. That's why they have all these problems with child molestation, because it says forbidden to marry. What commandment is that? Peace to you, brother. I mean, he's not man of God here, but you don't see where he said you can't be married if you're a priest. He put forth the institution of marriage. He defined the wife, finding the good thing. But they forbid they priest to marry. Then it says, and commanded to abstain from meats. What is that? That's talking about Lent. So in his epistle, he's prophesying of this particular practice, okay, and how it's going to be practiced in the days to come. Let's from his point, because this is actually an old thing. Let's keep reading. I'm on page 29. I said Paul is specifically prophesying the rise of the Catholic faith in Catholicism, which is the mother of all the Christian denominations. Priests are prohibited from getting married. In addition, they have instituted the spring fast and attributed it to the suffering of Christ. However, such a fast and its rituals are rooted not in Christ, but in the pre-Christian pagan worship of antiquity. The word Lent means spring and derived from the Old English word Lenten. Spiritually speaking, all roads lead to Rome, and such as is the case in regard to 40-day spring fast. The world version of the Babylonian myth, Tammuz the Great Hunter was slain while hunting a wild boar. Devotees mourned for him through weeping ceremonies for 40 days. During the days of Ezekiel, this ritual was found among the Israelites. So you even read this in scriptures. I'm quoting Ezekiel here. It says, he said also unto me, turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations that they do. Then he brought me to the door of the gate of the Lord's house, which was toward the north, and behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz. Okay. Worshippers of Tammuz wept with his consort Ishtar, believing that his rebirth would mean the regeneration of life within nature. Similar feasts are found throughout pagan peoples of antiquity. For instance, the ancient Egyptians observed a 40-day fast in honor of Osiris. The sign of the cross rubbed with ashes is not exclusive to Constantinian Christianity. It is found throughout the ancient world and was used as a prominent symbol of the pagan gods. For example, the tile cross was inscribed on the foreheads of initiates in the mysteries of Mithras. It is also interesting to know that the act of simply sprinkling ashes directly on the head, which is also done on Ash Wednesday, was done in honor of the pagan Norse god Odin, which is where we get the name Wednesday from, by the way. Just a side note. The placing of ashes above the brow always occurred on Wednesday, the day named in honor of Odin. Okay? So now that's just a little bit on this particular day. But understand, so I want you to go to Revelation. And peace to everybody that's listening. This is Revelation, because the 13th chapter, because it seems like this is getting you prepared for something. Revelation, the 13th chapter. And I'm going to pick it up. I said Revelation 13. It's not Revelation 13. It's is it 13? Hold on 1 second. Revelation Yeah, this is 13. Yeah, forgive me. I was gonna say Revelation the 13th chapter. I have a newer Bible now, and I'm trying to get used to it. Because my other Bible, I just know what stuff is at, just where it is on the page. So forgive me. Revelation the 13th chapter and verse 11. Here John the Revelator says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon." Okay, and he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth, and then was dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, similar to how Nebuchadnezzar made an image and forced people to worship, and if they didn't, they would be killed. So he's going to do the same thing, which had the wound by a sword and did live. So you're going to make a image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. We should understand the precedent set by Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah of how to respond to this persecution. So it says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Now listen what he did. It said, he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand. Then it says, in their foreheads. Okay. Now understand, that's what you're doing. And that's what you're doing on Ash Wednesday. You get that ash on your right hand and your forehead. Now understand, what I'm saying is that, like I said, it's getting you used to something. Okay? Because it's not biblical. It's not commanded. So if you don't take it at this time, during the Great Tribulation, it says he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand on their foreheads, is that no man might buy or sell, save with or except he that had the mark of the name of the beast and or the number of his name. Okay, so that's just a little bit on the pagan origins of Lent. I want to remind you that we at the House of the Faith meet every Sabbath at 5925 West 25th Avenue in Gary, Indiana at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. We live stream right here on the Israel Teach YouTube channel, as well as at www.israelteach.org. If you've been edified through the ministry and would like to leave a donation, you can do so. Again, go to our website, www.israelteach.org. 100% of the proceeds goes to the work of the ministry. We're certainly thankful for those who have contributed. We truly appreciate it. To a small ministry, we were able to do things based on your contribution. We're also having a baptism this Saturday. Okay, this is happening right after this Sabbath lesson. What else? And these books are available. I was reading from one, The Pagan Origins of Christian Holidays. These are available on Amazon.com or other places where books are sold. Into Egypt again with ships. Into Egypt again with ships. The forgotten a message to the forgotten Israelites, African Americans. Okay, so they have that one. The Pagan Origins of Christian Holidays. Killing Black Innocents. The program to control African American reproduction from slavery's into the present day self-inflicted genocide. Hair like wool, feet like burned brass, the color of Jesus and burning truths concerning the Messiah. For then shall be great tribulation. And in defense of biblical polygyny for multiple wives. These are all books that are available. All praise to the Most High, brother, for any edification. These are all available on Amazon.com and where books are sold. And with that, brothers and sisters, it'll be on the website soon. I keep saying that. We're still getting the website together. With that, brothers and sisters, so is my prayer that you were edified.